should be live. We will see.
When have we ever made a mistake where we didn't go? When have we ever made...
Well, I can hear you on there. Well, I can hear... And I can hear me, so we're good.
There we go.
We've never made a mistake. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
And that's what I said.
It's always been flawless. There's not a missing episode. We reached into the mailbag for the first time in 2.5 years and accidentally screwed it up. So the person who asked for it couldn't even hear it.
It worked perfectly. I wouldn't have it any other way.
How's your weekend been, Coop?
It's been pretty good. Pretty low-key weekend. Did some cooking, a little cleaning. Nothing too major. Honestly, after having all these weddings and whatnot, it was nice just to take it easy.
Yeah.
Play a lot of Legend of Zelda, not gonna lie.
I need to crack that out. I've got it upstairs. I haven't opened it yet. Because I knew once I do, that's all I'm going to be... Like, I didn't start it because I had about an hour before the podcast after finishing...
You don't want that.
Doing stuff, you know?
Right.
So I was like, oh, I could... No, don't do it.
So. It's pretty addictive, not going to lie.
Yeah. Because I just beat Breath of the Wild the other night. But
you did after 5 years or so.
Well, it was because I had been at the same point for so long because I was trying to find every shrine without looking up where any of them were. I think I still had like 40 left to find. No, I only had 40. I only had like 28 left to find.
Still a lot.
It is, but I would play for like 2 hours, 3 hours, and not find one. Because I think most of the ones left were quests rather than you haven't explored the map enough. So I think that was my issue.
And they're pretty hard to find at that point.
The quests are pretty hard to find, yeah. So I just said, screw it. I have the new game. I need to beat the old one first. So
that's the way to do it.
I finished the Test of Wood or whatever, the one...
Test of Wood.
The Korok.
I do not remember that one.
Quest. You just have to make it through the Korok forest using only like a wooden bow, sword, and shield. It was really easy. Honestly, the only reason I died twice was because I fell in the stupid mud. Because I had the brightness turned down when handheld mode, and I thought it was just ground, and I walked straight into it.
You should have put the blue light filter on. That would have helped.
I don't know if Switch has that.
Well, just tape a piece of like orange plastic over it.
Red plastic over the top. Hey, it's good for
absorb
your
all that
eyes.
red light. Is that proven?
Yeah. Because blue light suppresses the production of melatonin, which means late at night it's going to make it harder for you to fall asleep.
Well, yeah, but that's only when you're doing it like right at night.
Yeah. I have it set to go.
And you've never been on your computer past midnight, right?
No, never. Not including last night.
That's good.
So it's more reasonable in the summer. The winter's worse because the sun goes down at like 4:30.
That is true. That's.
But now it makes more sense because the sun is still up and will be for like another 30 minutes.
Which I do like. I do like the later sunsets.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's good because once the sun goes down, I'm actually tired. As opposed to winter, where my body's like, "Oh, sun's down, time to go to bed." I'm like, "It is 4 p.m. I'm not going to bed yet."
Quite frankly, I don't want to.
Yeah. All right, you want to get into this?
Let's get into it.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Audio Shop Podcast. This week we are doing Paul Simon by Paul Simon. We are not doing his new album, which just came out. I suggested that, and Cooper said, and I quote, "I do not want another Santana situation."
It would hurt my heart.
So we're
Not
doing
not not
the
that I
old
think
one.
Paul Simon necessarily would phone it in, but I don't know. I'm just not sure if I could handle that
Did you
again.
think Santana would phone it in?
Uh no, I didn't. I figured he'd kind of he'd put in at least some of the work, but
Nope.
I've been
Anyway, we're
wrong
not talking
before.
about that album again. We're talking about Paul Simon by Paul Simon.
Yeah, his a self-titled album. I'll give a little bit of background on Paul Simon here. Um, so Paul Frederick Simon, born 1941, so he's getting up there in age. He's in his 80s now. Is a famous American singer-songwriter. You know, Originally from New Jersey and then brought up in New York. He is probably famously known as his being one half of Simon and Garfunkel, which he started with his friend Art Garfunkel back in the 50s.
What a first name.
Art Garfunkel, yes, that's his full name. They famously have, Mrs. Robinson, The Sound of Silence. They had a lot of, big hits, Simon and Garfunkel.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually they split, and then Simon kind of went on to have his solo career. Where he's actually in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice for both Simon and Garfunkel and for Paul Simon.
Interesting.
And he's had 16 Grammys, 3 albums of the year. Some of his songs, The Sound of Silence and his album Graceland, has been put into the National Recording Registry. And the Library of Congress crowned him the inaugural winner of the Gershwin Prize for Popular Song. So many an accolade. So the guy certainly hasn't had any short. And he's one of the best-selling artists of all time. So
Yeah.
guy's been pretty successful,
Mm-hmm.
as you can see. The album we're reviewing is 1972's Paul Simon, which is his second solo album. And it was about 2 years after he split with Garfunkel. So basically, it was kind of his, coming out of the duo band and kind of making sure it was like his own voice. Now a little bit of post Beatles, I've been saving my material that I can send out.
Yeah, not quite a George Harrison. Here is a hour-long album the day the Beatles break up.
That Paul and Paul and John wouldn't let me put into a Beatles album.
And only one of them's a granny song. Fuck you.
So I think it's widely considered that Simon is the stronger half of Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah, I mean, after hearing this album, I would agree with that statement.
He certainly went on to have though they apparently they've gotten together every now and then, done some like tours together. So I guess there's not too much bad blood there.
Not everyone has bad blood when they break up a band.
Ringo didn't. He was the only one spread.
No, Ringo did not.
Yeah, so that's kind of a history of Mr. Paul Simon. He kind of falls into that kind of venue of like the 70s, late 60s, singer songwriter, your Bob Dylan's, your who else am I thinking of?
Bob Dylan.
There's Bob Dylan, yeah, certainly. Bob Dylan's probably the biggest example you can think of.
He's got a new album coming out soon.
Yeah, that one I kind of want to review.
Oh God, I don't know if we can.
Because we've already memed him so much that I can't really be disappointed by him. If anything, I'll be pleasantly surprised. So.
Yeah. Well, you wanna get on into it then?
Yeah, let's get into it.
With track number 1.
Track number 1, Mother and Child Reunion.
Gotta say, because you suggested this after I suggested we do the new one, I didn't know what to expect. I've not really listened to any Paul Simon nor any Simon and Garfunkel bar Sound of Silence. So I was like, oh, it's kind of going to be folksy, like a lower key America, which, you know, to an extent it is, but this is very tropical. I was not ready for it.
Yeah, no, Mother and Child Reunion is I mean, it's really the only one of these album like this, so it's kind of odd that's the opener.
There's a lot of
But
songs on this album like that, Cooper.
what now?
It's the only song like it on the album.
Yeah. But it was actually one of the first he was kind of one of the first non-Jamaican musicians to kind of bring reggae into the States. Because this is 1972, right? So, you know, this is predating Bob Marley, another Bob. Kind of really breaking onto the scene.
What do you mean another?
Actually, was he the 60s? Maybe it was around the same time. But in terms of a non-Jamaican artist kind of doing some reggae. So in a way, I guess Bob Marley was kind of getting on the scene around this time as well. Really, so you can blame Paul Simon for ska, is what I'm saying.
You mean thank him?
Wake up every day.
But yeah, I mean, it's other than being a little bit repetitive, it's got a real good beat to it. I mean, it's hard to go wrong with reggae, especially the real laid back stuff. The backing choir does a lot. It's very repetitive, but it builds constantly. Get a little piano there at the end. It's just a nice, calm song, and it really sets the tone for the album.
Yeah, I mean, I think it improves. I mean, obviously, this would be no surprise to anyone who's listened to other Paul Simon stuff, but you know, he's a solid singer-songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
Which I feel like part of that is your song has to secretly be actually really depressing. Which I guess this song fits to a T. So
yeah, quite a few of them are that way.
This one's actually about the song's lyrics was inspired by the pet dog, Paul Simon's pet dog that died when it was run over.
Oh.
It was the first death Simon personally experienced. So
that is very sad.
And it's also a reference to the Mother and Child Reunion, a reference to the fact the dish of, you know, a chicken and egg dish, right?
Oh,
a Mother and Child Reunion.
Yeah. That's kind of dark.
I think it's classic singer-songwriter.
Yeah. Jumping to track 2, if you're ready.
Yes. Track 2. Dunkin'. The name, not the donuts.
Yeah. I refuse to call Dunkin' Donuts anything other than Dunkin' Donuts. It's not Dunkin'. No, I don't care if you're trying to rebrand. You are a donut company.
I'm not sure if Dunkin' stuck with that, quite honestly.
Anyway, we got a nice little story song here, you know. Kind of odd that it starts out with how much the people in the motel room next to him were banging, but, you know, you do you.
Yeah, no, this one's definitely a little more melancholic, a little more low key, and acoustic led, which, you know, will not be the last song on this album. It is mostly acoustic.
No, very folky album. But we got a nice simple beat that is enhanced with the flute duet that acts as the chorus. Not enough songs use instrumental choruses, if you ask me. I really enjoyed this. Especially flute. I'm just a sucker for flute with acoustic. It's just such good sound. Now
it is an interesting use of flute here.
Yeah.
It's a very, you know, it's like a little lick, but it's pleasant.
It is. And now I'm just thinking about Trapdoor by King Gizzard.
Which is also a good song.
Which also has a lot of flute. But flute's just an underutilized instrument, you know? And then at the very end of this, he's very coy about banging the preacher girl, even though he was brazen at the start with the people banging next door. Like, pick a lane. Come on.
That's called poetic irony. Or something along those lines.
It's like you're talking about other people banging. He's like, I'm thankful for my fingers. It's like, okay, calm down.
Sorry, for my fingers. I did like the way you said that line.
Yeah. But a very, very good song. I'm a sucker for a story song. Keeps it fresh, moving along. Speaking of moving along, jumping to
good segue.
track 3, if you're ready.
Yes, track number 3. Everything put together falls apart. Which is even more low key.
Yes, very stripped back, but not
and
in a
even
bad
more
way.
acoustic led.
Yes, very acoustic. It's really close to your ear too, which normally I'm not a fan of with vocals, but with the guitar it changes the sound a little bit. And it sounded like there was maybe a little bit of organ way in the back. I couldn't really make it out because my dishwasher was running upstairs, and the tone it was creating was very similar to whatever the backing tone for this was.
Maybe Paul Simon used a dishwasher.
Maybe. Wouldn't that make it house music then?
Boo.
I'll be here all week.
Sounds like now that's a Beatles joke right there. Yeah? Whenever we were making this, Paul was actually cooking in the kitchen. I guess it's called house music.
Yeah, nobody knows, but Ringo actually invented house music. He made the first house song when John pushed him down the stairs and Paul recorded it.
Goodness.
But
no, but this song is I mean a little keyboard comes in. So it's not just acoustic.
But it's very far back in the mix.
Yes.
Very low key. And his vocal styling hasn't really changed all that much between tracks, I noticed, but it always fits and doesn't feel too similar to previous. He's consistent, but it doesn't feel consistent, if that makes sense.
Well, it's got the same feel, but he mixes it up a little bit.
Yeah, like the vocal stylings are always the same, but it doesn't feel samey. It always seems to just slot perfectly into whatever style he's doing.
Yeah, it's maybe effortless is the word.
Yeah, that'd be a good way to put it. Effortless and not annoying.
Yeah, but not lazy.
Yes.
Se.
Jump into track 4 if you're ready, Coop.
Yes, track number 4, Run That Body Down. Which is another pretty mellow song, acoustic led, but with some light xylophone and drums in the background.
Yeah, and of course, as I just said that thing about his vocals, he goes and sings falsetto on us, which kind of changes that, but, you know, it's very nice. Got a little bit jazz stylings in here. The acoustic with the jazz is a little weird, but it fits for the song. Just if you sit and think jazz for a minute, you're like, okay, this doesn't work. But if you just let the song take you, it works perfectly.
Oh, I quite like this song.
Yes, I agree. And man, the wah pedal on the guitar at the 225 mark is exactly what the song needed to kick it up a notch.
The wah pedal.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
I know, just a funny just a funny word.
All right, Waluigi.
Wow.
I wish it had stuck around longer. I understand why it didn't, but like, come on. Just leave it in there a little bit longer.
I mean, yeah, I just think this song also has a really catchy chorus, I should say, which I think is worth emphasizing.
Yeah.
I mean, Paul's voice, I guess, isn't like the most I guess technically impressive voice of all time. But it fits right perfectly in this kind of like mood and styling.
And it's very soothing.
It is very soothing.
I think it's clear that I listened to the album recently, as I am very low energy right now. We're both a little sleepy.
Are you about to fall asleep too?
I probably could.
This is definitely a sleepy album.
Yeah.
Not like in a bad way, but in like a relaxing way.
Yeah, like you throw it on after a long day of work to chill out. You know, sun's going down, it's nice and cool outside, you're having a nice glass of lemonade or maybe Arnold Palmer.
Ooh. I could go for some Arnold Palmer.
I could as well. That sounds pretty good. You ever had a Milo's sweet tea? It's
I don't think
zero
so.
calorie. It's pretty good. I like the taste of it.
Anyway. I do like 0 calorie stuff.
Yeah, even though it's God knows what's in it. Jumping to track
Not
number
calories.
5. Yeah. Track number 5 if you're ready.
Yeah, track number 5, Armistice Day.
Armistice Day. If I spelled that right. I think I did. Yeah.
Armistice. Is it armistice or armistice?
Armistice.
I guess I'm saying it's the same, close to the same thing.
I didn't enjoy the comparing a friend to an easy chair. That gave a bit of a weird connotation, especially since it was a female friend. And the way he said it, too, was just kind of...
Yeah, it's a... I'm not sure if that's you want... I don't think that's a good comparison for somebody. No, but... yeah, this is an odd one, I'll say.
Yeah.
It's like a... it's got almost like Western vibes on it at times, with like a very, like, twingy guitar.
Yeah, I didn't get Western, mainly because I focused on that weird electric guitar part, along with whatever the heck that droning instrument was. I wanted to say harmonica, but that is not a harmonica. I don't know what it is.
Maybe this one has not a vibe.
But when were those invented?
Harmonicas?
No, a melodica.
Oh, melodica. I don't know.
Come on, give me Wikipedia.
Probably after the harmonica.
Yeah, but it's a plastic reeded keyboard. Oh, it was 1950s. No, that was before this. That's when did this album come out?
72.
72. Maybe it's a melodica then.
I mean, that's certainly within the time frame. The acceptable time frame.
Yeah. Maybe it is then, because it sounds a bit like one. I think of them as being very modern though, because they're so plastic.
Plastic's been around for a while now.
Yeah, I know. It still feels modern. Although I just found on the Wikipedia page there's a picture of a wooden one. But seeing a wooden piano just looks kind of weird.
But well, Armistice Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an odd one. That like almost funky electric guitar is an odd duck in this song. I mean, the acoustic was already kind of pretty rough, like in terms of like actually like kind of a little more aggressive there. Yeah, there's a lot of, and like, yeah, it's not like a harmonica. It's almost like a very breathy something.
Droning. It might be a melodica. I don't know.
He also scats on this song, so that's fun.
Yeah. Again, thank you for the ska.
Paul Simon's the ska king.
He does have some trumpets later on.
That's true.
Armistice Day doesn't have its own Wikipedia page, so we can't tell.
Yeah, just an odd song. Want to skip on to the next song then?
Yeah, well, it might actually be a saxophone. Maybe it's just a droning saxophone. Jumping to track number 6 then.
Yeah, track number 6. Me and Julio Down by the Schoolyard. Which I think I'm pretty safe into saying this is probably the most famous song off the album.
I don't
certainly
know.
One I've heard before.
I don't think I've actually heard any of the songs off this album before listening to it.
That's surprised. Me and Julio is a very popular Paul Simon song.
I mean, I can see why. I love the straw in a cup instrument. It's got to be my favorite instrument.
It does have a straw in the cup sound.
What is it? What is it actually? Is it like wet rag on glass or something?
I don't know. This one definitely has a its own Wikipedia page, so let me look it up.
Because they use that in Cuphead too for Floral Fury, but that one I think is actually a straw in a cup.
I don't know. This one it says it only had vocals, acoustic guitar, whistling, and percussion and bass.
So some kind of percussion. But I could have told you
I
that.
guess, but that's a pretty wide net to cast.
That is a very wide net to cast. Is it a cannon or is it
a gong
block? You know, that's not very helpful. Anything can be percussion. But this one. I don't know if it's just if I just realized it on this song or it's just this song, he's got a very interesting accent.
I'm in New Jersey,
Yeah.
East Coast.
I don't know. It doesn't. Maybe I'm just not used to an East Coast accent, but I couldn't place it because he almost sounds a bit British at times. Which East Coast. Okay, yeah, I answered my own question there. But yeah, I don't know. It kind of felt like it was jumping all over the place. Maybe it was just this track.
What, his lyrics or his vocals?
His accent.
Oh. I mean, I thought it sounded pretty consistent, but
in my head, I mean,
I'm living near the East Coast now, so
yeah, you're more used to it, I guess. I don't know if I've ever really talked to anyone at length from the East Coast that grew up in the East Coast and thus had the accent. Of course, I know people who moved there from here, but you don't really pick up the accent moving there that late in life. Unless you're moving
That's
to Canada, then you pick it up after a week.
Don't you know? That's only because it's fun.
Yeah. And then at what point does it stop being a joke and you actually start talking like that? I do like the wall of acoustic guitars in this song. Gives you no respite, but in a good way.
Yeah, no, it's just an overall fun song.
It's like the opposite effect of everyone trying to play Wonderwall at the same time.
Yeah, I want to move on to track number 7.
Yes.
Track number 7. Peace Like a River. This one's a little bit more moody, a little deeper.
Yeah, I would say the instrumental does the heavy lifting for this one. I don't know, for some reason the lyrics, the vocals just didn't pop for me, like I've come to expect. It's not they're bad. It's just they weren't distinct enough. Like every I feel like every song has kind of got its own little gimmick, you know. And this one really didn't have it.
Some of those high notes on this one.
Yeah, but we've already had falsetto. I've seen it already. Do something new.
I like that. But what about second Paul Simon? No, I like this one. I think the kind of darker, deeper, moody atmosphere on this one is nice, especially after how not goofy, but kind of lighter me and Julio was.
It's Cooper. He uses the straw in a cup instrument. It's goofy.
That is true. That's a pretty goofy instrument.
If there's one instrument that fits the word goofy, it's that one. But the end of this one kind of sounds like a bit like the Pikmin soundtrack, I thought.
I haven't listened to much of that, so
that was one of my go-to college. I need to do homework and need sound in the background. I would just throw the Pikmin OST up because it's calming. It's nice, kind of very acoustic, similar to this song.
Right.
Jump into track number 8 if you're ready, Coop.
Yeah, track number 8, Papa Hobo. Which definitely goes for those hobo vibes.
Yeah, I mean that whatever that humming instrument is, maybe it's a jaw harp. I'm not sure. It gives a riverside kind of feel to it for some reason. Not the highway like he starts off singing about right at the start, but maybe there's a little bit of symbolism going on there or something.
You mean you said the humming? I was thinking of that little springy noise is.
I didn't know how to describe it other than the humming. I think it is a jaw harp. But I don't know, it's not twangy enough for that.
It's very campfire vibes.
Yeah. For some reason it just evokes riverside, camping along the river to me.
Very Tom Sawyer-esque.
Yeah, minus all the enemies.
Yeah, well, yes, thankfully. But it's like an old-timey, Boxcar Joe, right? Going where the wind takes you. Kind of the idealized version of it.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it gives a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Romanticized view of it. rather than reality.
Okay, that's the point of art, right?
Yeah. Well, depending on what art we're talking about.
True.
Jumping to track number 9, if you're ready, Coop.
Yeah, track number 9, Hobo's Blues. We're still in hobo territory.
Yep.
This is the hobo section of the album.
And this is where I finally pinned down his shtick. He just puts one interesting instrument in every track, just about.
I mean, it works here.
It does.
This one has a violin.
He's shredding that fiddle, Cooper. If you're playing blues, it's a fiddle.
It's a fiddle. Sorry.
This
song just has the word blues in it.
But one is classical, the other is not.
I mean, this is basically the soundtrack to that point in the movie where the hero accidentally stumbles into a friendly hobo camp.
Mm-hmm.
They're all just having a good old time. We don't got much, but we got each other, kind of thing going on.
Yeah, a nice little instrumental thing. It feels right at home and is much needed. Just nice little break. Not that it's
incredibly pleasant.
Getting boring. It's just the instrumental tracks have been very strong, and it's nice to have one that can just breathe on its own.
It's a very pleasant little song here. But it's also a minute long, so not too much to say about it.
Yeah, it's a short little ditty. Jumping to track number 10.
Yes, track number 10, Paranoia Blues. And this one is a actual blues song.
Yes. One more style for him to tack onto the album.
Yeah, he puts on quite a few hats on this. It's weird because you go through the album, it doesn't sound that different from song to song.
Mm-hmm.
But then you kind of go into the nitty gritty and you're like, oh, he actually kind of tackled a couple different genres here.
Yeah, he's jumping all over the place, but it all works really well together.
Yeah, it's pretty cohesive.
Mm-hmm. Without being too samey. And man, that dirty sax at the 120 mark, that is...
Oh yeah, that's the instrument for this song.
Yeah, I love the duet style with one in each ear, because if you had the duet in both ears, yeah, that's still nice, but the one in each ear, that really takes it up a notch.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a dirty, down in the mud kind of blues song.
Mm-hmm.
About Paul Simon being paranoid about life and wanting to get the hell out of New York.
With some very solid slide guitar.
Someone stole his Chinese food and he's just like, I need to get out of here.
I gotta get out. I can't take this anymore.
I cannot take this anymore.
And jumping to the last track, Cooper, if you're ready.
Yes, the final track on the album. Congratulations. Which is a nice little ending song. A little sad song to end the album off on.
Yeah. I have to admit, I didn't write anything for this one. I kind of I got sucked in and sat and listened to it, and then it ended. I'm like, oh, crap.
This is when you fell asleep.
I didn't fall asleep. I was just I was very relaxed, just had my eyes closed, vibing to the music. It felt too loud.
It's a very, low speed, low energy song, a little sad, little synth, obviously acoustic and Paul Simon's vocals.
Yeah.
Even ends on kind of a subdued little synth lick.
Yeah. It's not too crazy, but then again, it wouldn't feel good if the album ended crazy.
Yeah, this is not a high energy album.
No.
By any means. And the highest energy song is to me, Julio, and even that's kind of pretty low key overall.
Yeah, the only reason that's high energy is because the straw in a cup.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the album. Unless you got anything else to add to that, Coop.
No, I think that's about it.
So, what's your favorite? Tell me your favorite song.
My favorite song is probably gonna have to be "Run That Body Down."
Ooh, okay.
It's maybe not the most obvious pick, but I think it kind of melds all the best elements of this song or album. I really like Paul Simon's vocal delivery on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, maybe no, super flashy instrumentation performance here, but it's got the right energy. It's got a nice chorus and hook. Kind of a little more mellow and almost sad lyrical content. I don't know. It's kind of encapsulates this album, I think.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Sam?
It is actually also "Run That Body Down."
Oh, okay,
But I have to
okay.
disagree with you on the no flashy instrumentation. That electric guitar really rams out the gate. Not to the same extent as other electric guitar performances, but in this song, I would argue that's the highest energy moment. It's like, whoa, this is really,
I wouldn't even call that high. I mean, I do like the electric guitar
yeah.
with that little breakdown there at the 2:30 mark, but I definitely wouldn't say it's high. It's like, whoa!
Grandpa decided to have a non-caffeine free Coke with his 4:30 p.m. dinner.
It's like going from Coke Zero to like the one with like 10 calories in it, you know?
Yeah. Whoa,
Like, yeah, sure,
slow
it's typed
down.
it. Whoa, hey.
What about least favorite? Which would that be for you?
My least favorite's probably Armistice Day. Um, I mean, it does some interesting stuff, kind of going for the more Western vibe and having that like funky guitar pairing with the acoustic, but
Mm.
I don't think it pans out 100% here. Um, where it just doesn't seem to meld with the rest of its album or even itself, honestly.
You're wrong there. That's a good one. I like that
Oh,
one.
well, what's your pick then?
I would have to say probably Peace Like a River.
Hmm?
It's not a bad track, but it's just kind of there, you know. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad. There's I was struggling a little bit to figure out which was the least liked. But just looking at it, what does it bring to the table? Sounding a little bit like the Pikmin track isn't really good, especially when the start of Papa Hobo sounds more like Pikmin. So it's like it's a fine song, but you wouldn't really be losing anything if you were to drop it from the album.
I can agree with that.
But that's the album. We got to rate it
That is
now.
the album. We do have to rate. I think it's your turn to rate
I
it, Sam.
think it is. So here at Audio Shop, obviously we've traveled back in time. We're from the future,
Ooh,
and in the future, cars are illegal. Thinking
I knew
about
it.
cars, talking about cars, you're shot instantly. You've seen Minority Report?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, in that they have the future crime division where they stop crimes before they happen. Um, Imagine that, but it's just all dedicated to cars. Um, so we came back in time and did a car themed music podcast because we just want to use every opportunity to talk about cars that we can since we're able to
While
now.
we can.
Yeah. But we've got Showroom, which is the tip top cream of the crop, best of the best. You need to listen to this album. And then all the way down at the bottom, we got Scrapyard. Ooh, yuck. Santana, you didn't put any effort into this album. It physically causes me pain. Don't listen to this. And then we've got Like New, Fixer Upper, Used Rental, High, Low, In Between. It all changes based on our mood. Some days it might be a showroom. Some days it might be a used rental rather. So we're a little low energy today. So we'll see where things fall. But Cooper, what would you say you would rate this album?
I'll give it a low like new. I mean, it's not a blow your socks off impressive album, but it's subtly impressive in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of demonstrates Paul Simon's skill as a singer songwriter without being flashy. Not every song's a hit, but his way he kind of weaved in and out different genres I think was pretty impressive. Even if, like you said, it's a little sleepy at times.
Oh, but that's not to its detriment at all.
I don't know. I think he leads into it. It leads to a pretty good song / album here overall. So I got to give it a like new. What about you, Sam?
I think I'm going to have to give it a middle fence rating. I'm going to have to give it a show new.
Oh,
it's a very high like new, maybe a very low showroom, but I enjoyed this album quite a bit more than I thought I would. Having no preconceived notions coming into it, it was a very enjoyable experience, and I think it fit I was already sleepy before I listened to this album today, so it fit my mood quite well, and I don't know, it's a very I'm a sucker for those nice calm albums. You gotta have some music that helps you wind down as well as pump you up, and this is definitely a really nice wind down that really doesn't have any misses, I'd say. Even though I rated Peace Like a River the lowest, you can quite comfortably listen to this album all the way through and feel quite content at the end.
I'm imagining one of those, some guys going completely beast mode at the gym. They're like, man, I wonder what that guy's listening to. It's Paul Simon's Paul Simon.
I think you struggle to keep your heart rate up with this. But yeah, it's just really nice. And I think it's rare that you could pick any track out of this. I'd be like, yeah, that's a solid song. They're all very, very solid. And I think that elevates it quite a bit. And the layout of it is it's structured like an album. it's got good layout. So, and that's rare. And I feel like we don't see that as much as we should. So maybe it deserves a low showroom, but I'm going to stay on the fence.
Well, there we go. High praise.
Yeah, very good. Well, that's the album. Now we're going to roll on over to the spare tire, which is just whatever else we've been listening to. Cooper, you want to go first? Because I have a lot.
Wow. Sure. Yeah. I'll kick it off. Listen to a little bit of Blues Traveler. Their album 4. On the recommendation of a friend. Also, Sufjan Stevens released a new album, completely piano-led album, which was very nice and relaxing. And also Somersault released a new album. I am quite a fan of theirs, and we've reviewed an album of theirs as well. And it was a solid Somersault album. Very, got a lot of very relaxing, kind of Hawaiian, well, not Hawaiian, but like kind of, summer beach vibes going on, tropical. Which I quite like. Tropical vibes, which kind of makes sense going into May, going into June.
Yeah, May is a very tropical month.
It's getting warm. It's warming up.
Yeah.
Maybe not consistently, but, on average.
Yeah, I think it hit 75 here yesterday.
Hey, that's nice weather.
Yeah. Today it's 80, but...
what about yourself, Sam? What have you been listening to?
Well, I can say one thing you left off. We both listened to Infinity Repeating, the new Daft Punk song that just came out.
Oh, true.
Which kind of came out of left field, and I quite enjoyed. It was a nice. It wasn't them singing. It sounded more like what's his name from Gorillaz, but I don't think it was. It was a British guy. That's all I know.
Albarn.
Yeah,
Damon Albarn.
But that was quite nice. But I have been and sticking with Daft Punk for a minute. I listened to the 10th anniversary edition of Random Access Memories as well.
Ooh, good album.
Yes. Honestly, the only thing that made the 10th anniversary was all the extra little bits they threw on the end of like demos and stuff like that. But of course, Random Access Memories, very good album. I stuck my head back in to Takanaka, Masayoshi Takanaka, because I feel like I didn't give him a fair shake before. So I went back, I started at the beginning, and boy howdy, am I sure glad I did. I listened to Alone, because I started just going in order. I had the Wikipedia page open, I was doing a lot of work in the back at work, and I had the ability to put music on. So I just started at the bottom, started at his earliest and went down. So I got Alone. This was before I was going in order. Alone, it was good. Some vocoder, which is nice. Not too crazy. I don't think I talked about did I talk about Brazilian Skies last week? I don't think I did. Maybe I did. Brazilian Skies as well, which is one of my new favorite albums. It is very good. It has Star Wars Samba in it, which I discovered on Star Wars Day. So stupid.
Serendipitous.
That album has a lot of strong cup instrument. I listened to T-Wave, which was good. Not the best. Couple of standout songs. Listened to Jolly Jive, which is very wacky and out there. Finger Dancin', which is a super single. It has 4 songs. Jumps between happy and sad. Rainbow Goblins.
Man, these album titles.
Yes. Rainbow Goblins is wacky. It's narrated about goblins that eat rainbows.
That is pretty wacky.
So there's narration that happens over some of the songs, and the songs kind of tie into what's going on. It's crazy. You should listen to that one. It is really weird. I don't know how to say this one. Saudade, Saudade, or maybe a very bad spelling of suede. It's chill but kind of weird. Nice bit of higher energy. Can I Sing, which was good. Sounds a bit YMO at points. Lots of vocoder, which of course I love.
That would help.
Open All Summer. Not a fan of the singing. So we're getting into the later stuff where it's not him singing. It's another vocalist. I'm not sure who it is. It's a female vocalist. I'm not a big fan of her voice, but it has some nicer beats on the B-side where it's just instrumental. And then the last one I got to was Traumatic Far Eastern Detectives. Lots of short repetitive loops, a bit generic. Some of the stuff sounds like later YMO at points, the later stuff that I'm not really a fan of. So I kind of slowed down at that point. But I have been listening to a lot of Brazilian Skies, which is I for some reason didn't have on the list. Because I think that was the first I listened to before I made sure I was writing it all down. So, of course, I had listened to Seychelles and Takanaka before. Oh, I also listened to An Insatiable High. I didn't mention that. That was the one
went through a lot of Takanaka albums.
Yes. Yeah. So I've been through all of his stuff up through 1985.
Is he still releasing albums?
He actually just released a compilation album last year, Takanaka All Time Super Best.
I love these album titles.
And then the last studio album released was in 2011, which was Ukulele Seychelles and 40th Year Rainbow. So he's not really been too active since then. Actually, the only thing he's released since 2011 was the compilation album in 2022, Takanaka All Time Super Best. I mean, to be fair, the guy's 70. And he's released a lot of albums.
I was trying to say, he definitely hasn't, he doesn't have a small discography.
No, between 1976 and 2004, he released at least an album a year.
Goodness.
Sorry, 2002. So he released, because Takanaka and Insatiable High were 77. Brazilian Skies on Guitar, which we reviewed, was 78. Jolly Jive, 79. T-Wave, 80. Finger Dancin', 80. Rainbow Goblins, 81. Alone, 81. Suede, 82. Can I Sing, 83. Open All Summer, 84. Traumatic Far Eastern Detectives, 85. And then, yeah, it just keeps going on and on from there. So I've got a couple more to get through. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I've got 23 more studio albums to get through.
Goodness.
So, and it's in my opinion, I slowed down because the last two albums I was not really a fan of. So I was a bit worried to start Jungle Jane. But I listened to the first track and it sounds a bit better. So we'll see. We'll see. He's got this female vocalist that is in the last three albums, which I don't know. I'm just not a fan of her style and his style with it. But definitely Brazilian Skies. 2 thumbs up.
Well, all right. Maybe I have to give some more Takanaka albums to listen.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah, I probably won't listen to all of them, but
yeah, definitely. I give Rainbow Goblins a try. That's a really interesting one. Make sure you listen to the one that has the narration. It's wacky. It's fun. But yeah, that's what I've been listening to. A lot of stuff.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Nice.
But that's the show. That's what we've got. If you've liked what you've heard for some reason, you can scroll down on the Twitch page. There's a picture of Jeff Lynne, his guy with aviators and the fake afro. Click him, it'll take you to YouTube, where almost all the past episodes are. And if you're listening on YouTube and you want to listen to us live and yell at us from the peanut gallery, in the Twitch chat. You go to the description of the video. That'll take you there. We're live usually, well, rarely, at 8 p.m. Eastern on Sundays. Are you going to be around next weekend, Cooper?
Yeah, I should be good for the day. Are you? I know it's going to be Memorial Day.
Yeah, Memorial Weekend.
So that should be good for next Sunday.
Yeah, we can figure something out. Is Twitter still a thing, Cooper?
It is.
Is it dead yet?
It's not dead yet. So you can still follow us at Audio Shop Pod. That's POD on Twitter, and we'll let you know what album we're listening to if you want to give it a listen ahead of time.
I still think we should switch to Mastodon.
It's too much work at this point.
You don't want to make toots instead of tweets?
I don't want to make toots. That's not. They should change the terminology.
Twitter's dying at some point. Everybody's pulling out. We got to figure out which is the next thing.
Go back to MySpace.
MySpace.
Let's bring it around.
That's a Facebook equivalent. That's not a Twitter equivalent. Anyway.
It was versatile.
Yeah, sure. You just want to put Jonah as your number one friend in the top 10's friends list.
I forgot that was a thing. Man, that's so mean. No wonder.
Yeah.
You had to rate your friends.
You could threaten them. Hey, he actually picked me up from the airport, so he moved up a spot.
He's going up a spot.
If you wanna be number one, you gotta start doing some more work, man. Anyway,
all right,
that's the show. Thank you so much for listening, and we will talk to you. We will see you next time.
See you later, shoppies.
See you.